In this Harvard Business Review Guide to Better Mental Health at Work, they have specific tips for people going through anxiety, depression, even panic attack. So let's take a look what they say about anxiety first. Now, the author of this section says they've struggled with anxiety themselves, and one of the things they do when they get anxious is clean a lot. Their therapist encouraged them, rather than to feel that urge to clean or do something, just sit with that feeling. And she acknowledges some days that's easier to do than others. And anxiety can affect people in a variety of ways. Not everyone experiences anxiety the same. It can be based on their genetic makeup, based on what's stressing them at the time. Maybe it's based on their biological factors, psychological stuff that's going on. There's a lot of factors that can play a role in anxiety. This author suggests that the key to managing anxiety is by first identifying it, then understanding it, and then responding to the anxiety with some sort of self-compassion. For example, techniques like mindfulness or focusing on one's breathing can help reduce anxiety and improve people's ability to think and their cognitive abilities altogether. One example they described is box breathing, where you inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and then hold your breath for 4 seconds. Now, actually, this technique is thought to physiologically help the mind and body calm down. When you focus on your breathing, it sort of activates this parasympathetic response, or this rest and relaxation response that the nervous system will go through. Because when someone feels anxiety, it's more the fight or flight response of their nervous system that's firing. And so that may cause someone to breathe fast, get shaky, sweaty, clammy. But where someone can focus on their breathing and slow down their breathing, then that can sort of trick the nervous system into thinking it's more relaxed and calm that state down. And then once someone is calmed down, maybe they can identify, oh, it's anxiety, here you are again. Or thanks for coming, but I'm not free to give you any attention right now. So by this technique, the author is saying you want to create space between you, your thoughts, and your emotions. And just notice the unpleasant feelings or sensations. Is it a lot of worries? Is it physical feelings that are unpleasant? And just acknowledge that you are not necessarily your thought, or you are not necessarily that feeling or emotion. Kind of separate yourself from that. And the thought is that over time, it will go away or it'll just pass. Also, the author recommends having some sort of routine, ritual, or an anchor to help deal with the anxiety that one is experiencing. The author in particular likes to journal, and they just take a few minutes each day to journal. And this gives them a way for them to deal and process some of their anxiety on a regular basis. Also, they recommend that sometimes in order to have self-care and compassion oneself, there needs to be a little bit of discipline in the process. Whether it's focusing on the breathing, maybe it's yoga, meditation. These are sorts of disciplines that will be supportive and beneficial for people's mental health oftentimes. Maybe trying new hobbies, maybe exercising or reading, drawing. Those are also ways to help manage anxiety. Another thought they suggested is to visualize the positive change. For example, if someone has very debilitating anxiety, it may be difficult to find the motivation to do something. But sort of imagine that positive experience that can be associated with accomplishing that task, and that can help someone to feel more motivated into achieving that goal. And then encourage yourself like a good friend would. Like give yourself some support and encouragement in reaching that goal or achieving that milestone. So don't get too boggled down or immersed in the anxiety or negative thinking, but try to think of it positively. Give yourself reassurance. Give yourself some support and compassion in the process. In depression, things can feel a little bit differently. Sometimes in depression, things can feel a bit more meaningless. Maybe people don't have that motivation. And it may not be as easy to visualize the positive change that can be associated with it. The author of this section was a former psychologist, and they suggest that people with depression need 2 types of activities in their life. One that provides a sense of accomplishment, and another that provides a sense of pleasure. There's a well-known psychotherapy technique in depression called behavioral activation, and it's this notion that the feeling of joy or good feelings are not going to come, but you got to just do the activities that you typically enjoy doing, and over time, the good feelings will come. So this author suggests to break up good, enjoyable activities and feelings of accomplishment in the morning, afternoon, and evening. So you'd have 3 for pleasure and 3 for accomplishment. And so you'd have 6 activities total that you need to start doing to help with the depression. Because if you're feeling depressed, you may not think or plan to want to do these activities. So schedule them in advance, talk to someone who knows you well or knows what activities that you enjoy, and just plan those out in your day to the best of your ability. If you can, not to stop working altogether, but because depression can affect one's ability to think and plan, maybe reduce one's workload, because work can be an important source of meaning and help someone structure their day, and it can oftentimes help with their mood or mental health, but you don't want to overburden oneself. At the same time, you probably don't want to stop working altogether, because that structure and that meaning and that stress from work can actually be a bit helpful. Also, if there's a time that people work well and effectively in deep work, be consistent with that time during the day, whether it's from 12 to 2, maybe it's from 10 to 12, some time where you can get consistent deep work in, because it all help to develop a sense of routine and consistency in getting stuff done. And then don't be afraid to get into mental health treatment. There's many approaches to help with clinical depression, whether it's medications, whether it's therapy, whether it's a combination of the two. There's several lifestyle choices that can be done, whether it's exercise, eating healthy, getting better sleep. So depression can be very debilitating, but there's several ways to go about treating it and addressing it. When it comes to dealing with a panic attack, it can feel like someone is going to die or have a heart attack. Many times initially people rush to their hospital because they don't know what's going on and think they're going to die. But oftentimes panic attacks are this extreme episodes of anxiety that peak for maybe 15 to 20 minutes and then will go away. But it can come across with many physical symptoms like short of breath, racing heart, maybe feeling dizzy, lightheaded, nauseous, tingling, or feeling like they're choking or gasping for air. This author recommends if you feel like a panic attack is coming, try to go into a quiet place. If you're in a high pressure situation, try to calmly and politely remove yourself, maybe by asking to step out to get water or go to the bathroom. If you're worried about how your absence is going to affect those around you, then maybe text a colleague letting them know you're not feeling well and you'll be right back. And you'll just try to return when you feel better. And then when you're in that quiet place, try to slow down your breathing. Try to remind yourself that you're not really dying. Whatever you're going through is going to pass. Think of a peaceful, happy place. Maybe repeat over and over, this will pass, this won't last forever, this will go away. And maybe you just need to take a break from whatever it is that you're doing. Now, from a psychiatric perspective, oftentimes I'll see people that suffer from panic attacks and they may have identifiable triggers for what causes them, or they may not. Perhaps it's just they're more likely to get panic attacks because of their family history or their genetics. And there are several medications that can be helpful in cases of panic attacks. But this author particularly goes to what someone can do if they see somebody having a panic attack and how they can help. First of all, ask if they're okay and how you can help. Maybe help them to find a quiet, private place so that they can reduce the stimuli around them. Be sure to listen to them and listen to what they're going through, what they're experiencing, and maybe reassure them, remind them to breathe slowly, maybe mimic the breathing in yourself so that they can see it. Maybe after this episode passes, reassure the colleague that you're not going to look or treat them differently because of what happened, that what you saw is confidential, and encourage them to take some time to recover, whether it's a few minutes, maybe the whole day, for them to get back to their normal self.